Hey guys, what is up? RabidRetrospectGames here. If that opening animation's in, I'll use it. And yes, it will have music one day. But, I want to talk about Batman Arkham Knight. And the game's been out for a bit, and I waited to talk about it because I have to be completely honest. I was completely Batmaned out as far as the games go. Because I played that game through to completion twice. I did every side mission twice. And let me tell you, those stupid, take down this little military thing, you know, the Deathstroke side missions, those about drove me crazy, doing them twice. Once was bad enough, because they're so boring. Twice, no. I was Batmaned out as far as the games go. Did watch the movies, though. It did put me in the mood for the DC animated movies, which I really like the Justice League and Batman movies they have. Except for that new one, Animal Instinct. I'd kind of recommend skipping it, but that's just personal taste. But I wanted to do a video on Batman Arkham Knight, and there is going to be spoilers, so if you don't want spoilers, go click out, watch someone else, you know. It won't hurt me. I'm a big boy. But I want to talk about one of the aspects of the game that let me down. And I don't know... I don't know what the general consensus is. I haven't really checked too much as of late. But for me personally, I think one of the biggest letdowns of the game were two of the three main villains. Now, obviously you had Scarecrow and the Arkham Knight. The Joker was a kind of a surprise, but you come across him 1 hour in, and he's great throughout. Mark Hamill, great job as usual. I thought the Joker was I thought he was great. I thought the storyline with the blood kind of taking over Batman and turning him into the Joker, it reminded me a lot of Batman Beyond's movie, The Return of the Joker, where Tim Drake has this chip on his neck that has the Joker's DNA that the Joker put on him when he abducted Robin as a kid. You know, during one of the missions, he abducted Robin, put this on, turned him into like mini Joker or whatever. And later in life, the Joker was able to kind of take over Tim Drake's body and all that stuff and kind of, you know, all that fun stuff. It was a really good movie. I'd recommend watching it if you haven't. But his story kind of reminded me of that. But I think they did a good job with the Joker. Now, Scarecrow and Arkham Knight, I thought they were just kind of a letdown, if I'm being honest. Which is kind of a shame because the game's called Arkham Knight. You'd think they'd have done a little bit, I don't know, better job with the Arkham Knight. But I guess I'll get into what I'm talking about. And we'll start with Scarecrow. Now, John Noble did a great job with voice acting. Everyone in that game had solid voice acting. That is one thing I cannot knock the entire franchise for. They have solid voice actors for pretty much every character. They usually deliver memorable lines, and they have a memorable kind of delivery to it. John Noble was very calm, but deliberate in his delivery, and it also had this kind of menacing factor behind it. But I don't think Scarecrow himself, despite his voice sounding all that, I don't think Scarecrow himself was really kind of a interesting villain in this game. I mean, he just kind of shows up, he's like, well, I must break Batman. I must kill the legend of Batman. And that's kind of it. You don't really see him too much in the actual game. He's kind of appears periodically in the main story, but you mostly hear him through kind of, he'll be sitting in his little black void of a room and kind of filming his little Scarecrow sections that you can easily miss when you're gliding around the city and all of a sudden you hear Scarecrow and you've got to stop what you're doing. Like, oh, crap, it's Scarecrow. I should probably watch this. And I feel as though he lacked the memorability, sorry, I got a little tongue-tied there, of his appearance in Arkham Asylum. He just didn't have that it factor that he did in the Asylum, you know. He would ambush Batman in the Asylum. He would go one-on-one with him, and, you know, you wouldn't even know if it was a Scarecrow section until you started seeing the hallways elongate, or Batman getting, you know, the game glitching out, and all of a sudden you're playing as the Joker. I mean, it was really memorable stuff in Arkham Asylum. And I was so pumped when we started getting those secret Easter eggs in Arkham City, you know, on that boat and everything. That made me pumped. I was like, ooh, Scarecrow, ooh, what's he gonna be like after, you know, that confrontation with Killer Croc? And, you know, he's got the look's great. I like his kind of torn skin, mask sewn on, you know, he's actually made himself kind of look like a Scarecrow. I like that concept, but he's just kind of a guy that sat there. And on the one hand, I get it, Scarecrow's trying to break Batman mentally. And there's a few good scenes of that, you know, the one with Barbara, you know, offing herself because she's infected with Scarecrow toxin, you know, that little hallucination, that was good. We needed more of that. But instead, he kind of played second fiddle to the Joker, and I mean, don't get me wrong, everyone kind of plays second fiddle to the Joker as far as Batman villains go, but I don't know, there was just something missing about him. He didn't have that it factor, that wow factor. He was just a guy that said quotes and stuff to Batman, and he didn't feel like a menacing presence to me. He just kind of was there, and I was like, well, okay, Scarecrow, cool. Ooh, let's hear what Joker has to say about all this. you know, Scarecrow is just kind of there. Even in the climax of the game when he's injecting Batman, it's all about Joker. I mean, Scarecrow's just kind of there, like, oh, okay, I guess I'll just try to infect Batman with my fear toxin. I guess we'll see how that goes. You know, it's just, he wasn't as memorable as he was in Arkham Asylum. I really think they kind of missed the ball. I think he needed more one-on-one time with Batman, more moments like the Barbara Gordon thing. I don't know. Something about it was just missing for me. And then we go on to the Arkham Knight himself. And the Arkham Knight was obviously Jason Todd, a.k.a. Red Hood. And I think most of us thought it was going to be Jason Todd before, you know, Rocksteady said, no, it's an original character! How dare you think it's Jason Todd? He's totally original. Look, Red Hood DLC exclusive to GameStop. Go buy and pre-order there. But, you know, it turned out, yeah, it's Jason Todd. I think everyone started seeing it. Anyone who's aware of Jason Todd, as soon as we started seeing him getting brought up, was like, okay, the Arkham Knight's going to be Jason Todd. You know, as soon as you start hearing about Jason Todd, it's just, okay, he's Jason Todd. And there's a couple things I wish they had done better with him. I think, at least in one of the games, they should have at least either mentioned Jason Todd directly. I don't know, we should have seen Batman struggling with this loss, with this personal failure. But Jason Todd isn't really mentioned in any of the other Batman games. There's, what, Arkham Asylum, Arkham City, Blackgate, and Origins. 4 other Batman games. And the closest reference you can get to Jason Todd is during a Robin Challenge map. Joker will say, didn't I kill you before? That's like it. No one mentions Jason Todd. He's a non-factor. He's a non-thing. And it's like, huh? You know, if you didn't look at, like, the journal entries or anything, you wouldn't even know he was a character. I mean, there's been plenty of Batman universes where Jason Todd's not even a thing, really. And it's just like, they didn't do anything to build him up. Why should I care? I like Jason Todd, the comic character, and Jason Todd from Under the Red Hood. I like Red Hood. But in the context of the games, they did nothing to make me care about this game version of Jason Todd. He wasn't brought up in the other games. He wasn't a factor in the other games. We didn't even get a Nightwing voice until Arkham Knight, let alone Jason frickin' Todd. He was just kind of a non-factor. So when you start seeing him brought up, it's like, oh, well, that sucks. I'm not really attached to him, though, but that was kind of a brutal scene. I mean, they didn't do anything to make me care about this Jason Todd. All that said, I think, you know, great voice acting, all that fun stuff. But I just didn't connect with this Jason Todd. So when the reveal happened, I was just like, oh, it's Jason Todd. I saw that coming. And the other thing about him, another little, I guess, grievance I have with him, is all of his encounters sucked. I don't know how more eloquently I can put that. Every single encounter of Jason Todd sucked. Every single boss fight in that game sucked, actually, but Jason Todd and, you know, Red Hood especially were just awful. You fight him, you fight a drone helicopter, you outrun him in the tunnels with the Batmobile and have him blow up, you know, tunnels on himself. You do a tank battle with the Cloud Disperser, and then you do the Predator takedown thing, which is just glorified. Oh, look, there he is, grapple up there to the gargoyle. Yay, I beat Arkham Knight, this great threat that knows everything about me and can match my combat style. I beat him by grappling onto a gargoyle and punching him a few times. Yay, Team Batman. And I just feel like they made a huge miscalculation in regards to that. It was just such a wasted opportunity. Say what you will about Arkham Origins. Lord knows I did. I was disappointed in that game from the announcement. But that game at least had good boss fights. Asylum, I can forgive, first in the series. City, had some pretty decent encounters. Clayface, great. Mr. Freeze, awesome. But this one, it was just, every encounter with the Knight was either focused around the Batmobile or sucked. 3 of the 4 were like Batmobiles, and the 4th one sucked. Why? I don't know. I don't know what they were thinking in regards to that. It just felt so... Here's this guy we're being told knows everything about Batman, knows his MO, knows his fighting style, can beat him, isn't afraid to go over that line. And he's just so lackluster in his encounters. It's just amazing. He's the Arkham Knight. The game's called Batman Arkham Knight, and the Arkham Knight's just kind of... It's about as easy to take him out as it is Two-Face in this game. And all you have to do to take out Two-Face is walk behind him and tap Y. Or pick him up from a gargoyle or anything. I don't know. I just feel like 2/3 of the main villain cast in this game were just kind of, like, I didn't care about them. Like, they weren't voice acted terrible, and I don't think the plot was bad or anything like that. It's just, there was something missing. They were missing that indistinguishable, intangible it factor for me, personally. And I don't know what they were thinking, and I hope maybe future DLC maybe adds to this or something. I know we have one coming up that is, it's probably going to cover Barbara Gordon getting shot in the spine. It's probably going to go up right until she gets shot, you know, the whole Killing Joke thing. So it won't really surprise me if that happens, but as it stands, I really think the main villains of this game were probably the weakest in the series. I really do. Now, it's kind of unfair, because Arkham Asylum, like, had a whole cast of main villains. There wasn't any side story. It was all, every one of these villains ties into the plot. City had a lot of them. Hugo Strange was, you know, you had Hugo Strange, Talia al Ghul, Ra's al Ghul, Clayface, the Joker, Harley Quinn, Mr. Freeze, Penguin, Two-Face. You had a larger ensemble cast for the main plot. And then Arkham Knight, you've got, you know, Arkham Knight and Scarecrow and, like, you know, an oddball here or there, but I just feel like there was missed opportunities with the villains, and if there is an upcoming, like, Suicide game or another Batman game, I really hope they focus more on developing these characters into an actual threat. You know, I love the Joker, I really do, but I also think we should sometimes have a villain that isn't the Joker that we can focus on. And, you know, I've been very critical of Origins in the past, but even Origins, I think, had more menacing villains, you know, other than the Joker, who was one that obviously main, you know, but I don't know, I feel as though there was some missed opportunities in this game, I really do. It's still a really excellent game, I would recommend anyone pick it up, you know, Lord knows I put a lot of hours into it, but I feel as though they kind of just, dropped the ball in some areas. So, I guess that's going to be it for this video. I hope you all have an excellent day. If you haven't picked up Arkham Knight, I would recommend it. Don't get the PC version until they patch it. Avoid that like the plague. But I guess until next time, I'll see you. I'm RabidRetrospectGames, and I hope you all have an excellent day, and take care.